Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I have another Goosebumps episode review for you right now. Of course, I read this book about a month or two ago, and I have just not had the time to get around to watching the episode of this, or Cry of the Cat, or Phantom of the Auditorium, which I reviewed recently as well. And I wanted to get around to those things because I wanted to, I'm out of work this week. I don't know if you guys saw my previous two videos. I assume most of the people watching this one, particularly for this episode, you guys have probably been either Goosebumps diehards or my channel's diehards or something like that to want to care about watching this review. But I did get diagnosed with COVID-19 this morning on a test, so I have some free time. And I wanted to catch up on these reviews because you guys were so great to me last year and so gracious to me last year for how slow the channel was moving, how I didn't have much content getting released last year in 2021. Just because of my own time, trying to balance out my new management job at work and stuff for the last 6 or 8 months. It's been a super, super crazy, tedious time, and I wanted to make it up to you guys now that I'm off. Of course, I'm feeling fine. I don't think I made that very clear in my previous couple of videos, so if you guys commented there and stuff, it's mostly just kind of a raspy voice and a little bit of a choky cough here and there, but nothing too bad. I'm fine. I'm really fine. So I have plenty of time to watch these episodes and catch up on them, watch some of them I haven't seen before, and do some reviews. Maybe I have some more reading time this week and stuff. Anyway, so today's episode is going to be coming out of this bootleg box set that I bought accidentally a while back. There's 2 of these sleeves that look identical for 2 seasons per box. This is season 1 and 2. Of course, this episode is Go Eat Worms, and it is the season 2 episode 6 episode. It was released on September 28th of 1996, and it's about 20 minutes long. Now, this one is directed by Steve DeMarco, who only did Ghost Beach when it comes to other Goosebumps episodes he's done. And really, I don't know anybody in here. The only person I know is Kristen Fairley, who played the sister Regina in here, because she does the voice of Little Bear. Yeah, you remember that 1990s, mid-2000s thing, Little Bear, the little brown cub that had parents and he didn't wear clothes? Yeah, that Little Bear. She played Little Bear, and I thought that was cute. I just watched Little Bear for the first time in like 15, 20 years the other day, or not the other day, but the other week. Around Christmas time, I had one of my VHS tapes that I hadn't seen in forever of Little Bear. It was the Winter Tales or whatever, and I wanted to watch it and see what it was like. Frankly, the art was good, but the episode sucked. It was like 4 short stories or like 10 minutes apiece. They all sucked. Every single one of them sucked. Anyway, don't watch Little Bear as a grown man. Anyway, she's in this. I was very impressed to see her and to find out who that was. I had never had a name to the face type of thing when I was a kid. And that was cool. It was a nice little cameo in my opinion. I assume this is right before or right after she had just started playing Little Bear. Anyway, like I said, season 2, episode 6. I recently read the book, and the book was mostly tolerable. It wasn't the greatest. It was plotless, completely plotless, as is the episode adaptation I'm reviewing currently. It is probably one of the worst Goosebumps episodes of the TV show I've ever seen in my life. I love the TV show tremendously, and I love Goosebumps, but there's not many things out there that I say I hate, and nor do I hate this one. It's just a really bad one. It's one of the worst of the original classic series books. It's one of the worst episodes of this original TV show. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. It's bad. It has a couple of positives, but that's really it. That's the only reason they'll get the rating that it gets when you see that rating at the end of the review. So starting off, in the book, you kind of had a kid named Todd who was obsessed with worms. And this kid, Todd, in this episode adaptation is also obsessed with worms. However, by the way, he's played by the kid that apparently grew up to write the film Project X, the found footage Project Hangover type of movie. That was kind of wild. At least on IMDb it says that. I clicked on Project X and it says he wasn't involved. I don't know if he used a screen name for that or what. Apparently he goes by the name 4T now, as in Fourtee. Okay. Anyway, no disrespect, but okay. So this has a history. Basically in the book there was a science fair project thing coming up, and our kid Todd was going to do a worm experiment because he was obsessed with worms, and he always does this, and some other kid kind of steals his glory with a better worm project. I think because he had more money. I think he was a rich kid or something. In here, all that's gone. The only thing they maintained is the science fair experiment thing. See, down in Todd's basement, he has this kind of worm farm type of thing. It's like a fish tank that just has dirt in it and some worms down inside of this thing. He collects them all the time. Now, in the book, one of the big places he loved to get worms from was out in the schoolyard on the baseball diamond field. And it wasn't there. It wasn't there in the episode. It's one of the biggest set pieces from that old book. As bad as that book was, it's one of the only things from it I remember. And even the cardinal from that book got an appearance here. But not the field, not the baseball diamond, which was weird to me. That should have been one of the few things they could afford to do that. I guess they couldn't pay a school or a public whatever, any parks to let them film there. I don't know, but there was no baseball diamond in here, which was odd. But everything else just was already bad. Like the first 10 minutes of this 20-minute episode were kind of dedicated more to being like the book, even though the book is plotless. There's nothing to really say about it. The science fair, we never see the science fair. It's just mentioned in passing like a couple of times. There's also a kid in here named Danny, who is the best friend of Todd, and he's played by the kid who played Tim on Magic School Bus, of all things. Where are all these kids coming from? The mom of Todd in this episode is awful. She's genuinely awful. Her acting, her performance is unbelievably bad. She walks into the room and says something about, like, as soon as she sees all the worm graffiti and all the other crap laying around, all the dead worms and stuff, she's like, "No wonder I couldn't get in here more often," or something stupid like that that made no sense whatsoever. It's not like anything was blocking the door. What are you talking about, Mom? No, you're just negligent. That's your problem. It was always something stupid like that. The science fair thing, that's kind of a background plot. We never see it. We never get to that. Todd's worms may or may not be more sentient than worms actually are. They start to watch him. You see worms peeking out of the dirt tank and watching him from across the room and stuff. They start to kind of somehow get out, and they're getting all over his life, like in his lunch and all over his bed and stuff. There is some body horror, gross out stuff in here that's pretty good, and that's what I do like about the episode. There's one scene in particular I will tell you a little bit about. Todd is asleep. He turns his head over a little bit. We see that real worms, not fake worms, real worms are underneath his head, on his cheek, on that pillow. And then he turns a certain way and gets adjusted in bed and puts his mouth and his nose on top of those real worms. From the camera angle, there is no way that that was not real. That was real worms. That was sick. I don't know what person thought to do that. My poor wife, who was mortified by worms, would have been completely traumatized to see that scene. I was sitting right across from when I was watching it too, so I'm surprised she did not see that scene. As we were in our office, she had her back turned towards me. We have two different desks, but still. That was horrific. It was horrific. Whoever put that poor kid, 4T, the kid named 4T, through that, you're a scumbag. It was traumatizing to me, and I didn't even experience it. But the worms are everywhere. They're on his feet and his bed. They're everywhere. It's disgusting. It's gross. And then the second half of the episode does a different thing I don't want to tell you too much about, mostly involving underground stuff. There is a practical effect in here that is the most unimpressive thing I've ever seen in my life. The episode sucks. Is there really anything else I need to tell you? And if you think all that was bad that I brought up, all the things about how plotless the book was, and if you thought the book was bad, you have no idea how bad a Goosebumps episode can get, or a Goosebumps property piece can get, until you get to the finale. The ending of this episode is one of the most shockingly bad things I have ever seen in my life. I was dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded. Now, a lot of people make fun of the Deep Trouble two-parter for being pretty rough and being pretty bad, and I agree. It has a lot of rough moments to it, but at least it was relatively watchable. This was watchable for like the first half, and the second half was just a bunch of mumbo-jumbo nonsense. Plus, it was all plotless, no matter which part of the episode we're talking about. The ending of this is so stupid, there's no words. There's no words. It's so unbelievably dumb, to the point where I just had to, like, shake my head. And my wife was like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "This episode was one of the worst I've ever seen of the show." And there are some that I was not impressed with back in the day. But this could very well be in, like, the top 5 worst episodes of the old original series. And eventually I will make that ranking video, God willing, if I live long enough. And I will do that. And you will see that probably in the top 5 worst episodes of this list, or of that list. It's unbelievably bad. I'm so disappointed, because I was hoping that it could improve on it. I like Ghost Beach as a book and as an episode. I really like it. I like the kind of myth feel to it, the urban legend feel to it. The fact that the same guy, I'm assuming he's using his real name, I don't know, it's probably a fake name. The fact that the same guy did this that did Ghost Speech. This is clearly a filler episode between better episodes. I don't know what the better episodes were. I'm not going to look them up because I'm too lazy and I'm sick. But this sucked. It sucked and it wasn't worth your time. The book is not worth your time either. But at least the book was better in my opinion. I do think the book is better. This is a mess. The music is a mess. Everything about it's a mess. It sucks. It's not worth your time. It sucks. Don't even spend an ounce of your time on this. I hope this is one of the ones that you folks out there who experienced, you young fellows out there who experienced Goosebumps for the first time from the Cartoon Network reruns. I hope to God you didn't have to see this episode and see how bad it could actually get sometimes, because this is embarrassing, frankly. In my personal opinion. This is about as bad as it gets with Goosebumps. But I have seen and I have read worse books than Go Eat Worms. And I have seen, from what I remember, something like that. Badder episodes than this, from what I remember. But it is one of the worst. It is one of the worst, in my opinion. Anyway, when it comes to the Go Eat Worms episode, which is Season 2, Episode 6, like I said, if I had to rate this episode on a 5-star basis, I would probably give it like a 2 out of 5 stars. And that might seem high to many of you folks out there, but that's only because I like the body horror gross out stuff in here, like the pillow scene I had to talk about, because that was impressively disgusting, and some guy out there told some poor 10-year-old to put his mouth and his nose on worms. You're a sicko, but I appreciate you. Anyway, what are your thoughts, guys? Put them down below. Let me know what you think about the book and the episode. Do you hate it? Do you love it? I'd love to hear all that down below. Have I been too harsh on this episode? Have I been too lenient on the episode? I would like to know that as well. Now, I could have sworn that I had the DVD copy that was released in the last few years, or in the last 5 or so, 8 years, somewhere in there, where they released a bunch of episodes like Attack of the Mutant and Monster Blood and all those with a really cool looking cover. They did Night of the Living Dummy as one with Dummy 2, Dummy 3, and Bride on it. But I could have sworn, that I had the Go Eat Worms and the Cry of the Cat DVD. The Cry of the Cat DVD was like one of the original ones, like the ones they only put 2-parters out for, like Deep Trouble, Welcome to Dead House, Haunted Mask 2, all those kind of DVDs back in the day. Could have sworn I had both Cry of the Cat and the Go Eat Worms more recent release. Apparently I have neither. I looked through all of my DVDs and I could not find them. Mind you, I have all my Goosebumps stuff away from all of my other stuff in my movie collection and all that I have all over the house. So I should have been able to find it if I had it, but apparently I do not have it, so I'm kind of bummed about that. I'd probably go ahead and buy it because I'm a nutcase and I pick up garbage that I don't like that much of. But I'm a collector too, and that's more important. That's more important to hoard my collection than to buy things with money that I actually want. But I want that. I'm joking. I do want stuff like that for my collection because I consider my Goosebumps collection a part of my horror fandom. You know, I love it. I appreciate it. I love you guys and your enthusiasm for the channel and the reviews and the whole series of this show and this book series and all that. I appreciate all the enthusiasm. Let me try that again. I appreciate all the enthusiasm and excitement you guys have that I have too, that we share. It's a great community. You guys are so much fun in the Goosebumps community, and I love being a part of it for the last almost 3 years coming February. That's crazy to me. Anyway, I have one more episode, or really have 2 more. Phantom of the Auditorium is the next one I plan on watching right now and getting a review up after this. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. I hope so. I hope you'll have a good time with that. I'm going to let this thing charge some more. But anyway, 2 out of 5 stars for me for Go Eat Worms. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comment section your thoughts about all of it, the book, the episode, all that stuff. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Sorry it took so long to get around to a lot of these episode reviews too, by the way. Anyway, goodbye.